Inference Plus Story Short Number 11, Series A. Damon remembered an analogy his high school government teacher told his class. It was about a frog in a pot of boiling water. A frog, Mr. Henry said, was placed in a pot of tepid water. Slowly, the temperature of the water was increased until at last it was boiling. The frog died without ever realizing it could hop out at any time and save itself. At the time, he thought it was a stupid analogy. There was no way a frog would slowly allow itself to boil to death. He'd argued the point with Mr. Henry quite passionately. That was before the Church of Eternal Happiness. As with so many of life's bad decisions, it all started with a girl. She was drinking a chai latte in the coffee shop he liked to go to after class. She was reading a book of poetry, her dark hair gleaming beneath the glow of the Edison bulb light above her, like an angel. She looked up and smiled. "Want to sit down?" She gestured to the chair across from hers. Damon sat. "What are you reading?" he asked, striking up a conversation. "Plath," she replied. "My friend said girls who like Sylvia Plath are freaky." "Do you like it?" he asked. "Sure," she said. "Do you like poetry?" "No, poetry sucks." "Yeah," he said. "Cool." A pause. "Are you a vegetarian?" Damon asked. She looked like a vegetarian. "Oh, no," she laughed. "Definitely not. I'm more of a humanitarian. What about you?" "Oh, that makes no sense, but whatever, still hot. Actually, yes, I know I don't look like the type, though." He smiled. "That's great. You must be really, really healthy." She squeezed his bicep. "Ooh, muscles. Nice." "Thanks. So, I've got to go now," she said, "but if you want to hang out again sometime, you should come by my church. It's super laid back, and I like guys who believe in something bigger than themselves." She winked. "What church?" he asked. "It's the one on the corner of Mass Street and 7th, she said. Damon racked his brain. He couldn't think of any churches at Mass Street and 7th. As far as he could remember, the only thing there was an abandoned warehouse with a "Keep Out" sign plastered across the sketchy-looking doors. He was pretty sure there used to be a bunch of homeless people squatting there, but the police ran them off. She must have sensed his confusion. "It's new." "Oh, okay," Damon said. "You gonna come by?" "Sure, okay. When?" She smiled. "Anytime. We're always there." She turned to leave. Damon called after her. "I'm Damon. What's your name?" She just smiled and winked. "Come by my church and I'll tell you." "You're hot, but no," Damon thought, watching her go. "I'm not a church kind of guy." He parked his car on the street at 7th and Mass that night at 6:30. It was indeed the abandoned warehouse he remembered, with the large "Keep Out" sign he also remembered. Damon felt his cheeks grow hot with embarrassment as he sat there holding his car keys. It only now occurred to him that the girl had told him this address because she wasn't interested and needed to tell him something to get rid of him. He didn't even know her name. She'd refused to tell him. Why hadn't he read the room? He was just restarting the car when her face popped through the passenger side window. She was still just as hot as he remembered. "You came!" "Of course." "Come inside." She reached out and popped the handle on Damon's car door, pulling him by the arm onto the sidewalk. He looked up and down the street, craning his neck to see where she might be taking him. "It's right here, silly." She indicated the warehouse. The dilapidated, vacant, abandoned, dangerous warehouse. Damon fiddled with his keys and felt his body instinctively move back towards the car. But she was so hot. Maybe he'd just go inside for a minute, just like 1 minute, long enough to get her number so we could meet up with her someplace more normal, someplace less condemned. "One thing first," he said. "What's your name?" The girl laughed. "Ray, like ray of sunshine. So, you comin'?" Damon did a quick mental inventory of his vaccination status. His tetanus was up to date, and just like that, he was squeezing his body through a broken panel, wiggling his way inside. Who was he to judge someone else's religion? I mean, hadn't Jesus himself held church gatherings in all sorts of unusual places? It hadn't made him a nut job. It wasn't as dark inside the warehouse as Damon thought it would be. Christmas lights were hung from the metal beams and cast a warm glow. "Wow, you guys have electricity in here?" Ray shrugged. We have lights, she said. We run an extension cord from the back of the gas station, but only when the owner isn't there. The clerks don't really care as long as the boss doesn't see. Stealing electricity doesn't seem very holy. Oh, great, cool. Let me introduce you to some people. An assortment of young people lounged on the floor atop air mattresses, sleeping bags, and blankets. They, like Ray, gave off a very hippie vibe. Not his usual crowd, but they seemed nice enough. Maybe a little more natural smelling than he was used to, but different strokes for different folks, as his dad used to say, and they were all gnawing away on the foulest smelling beef jerky he had ever encountered, but hey, he was an open-minded guy. What do you guys do here at your church? Damon asked. Ray laughed, tossing back her dark hair in a way he found very alluring. We spread the good news, she said, and commune with the Spirit and join together in righteous knowledge, normal church stuff. It all sounded a little hippy-dippy to Damon, but nothing totally out of the ballpark of any other church. Besides, if this church was Ray's thing, Damon would have a better chance of going out with her if he at least appeared interested in it. So, are you guys like Buddhists? Not really. Like Christians? Definitely not. Like Muslims? No. Damon considered continuing his litany of world religions, but sensed that wasn't going to get him where he wanted to go. Now he was curious about more than just the girl. He wanted to know what this church was all about. He tried a different tack. You said you guys pursue knowledge, Damon said. What are some of the things you believe in? Ray stretched out her arms, tilted her head back, and twirled in a circle. Everything! We believe in all of this. We believe in becoming one with a higher power. We believe in joining together for eternity. Vague, unhelpful. And you do this by... Why don't I just show you? It's easier just to show you. Then you'll be part of all of us. Sure, I guess. He was not sure at all, but she was still so incredibly hot. Take off your clothes. Put on this robe. Damon did not move to take off his clothes, nor to put on the robe. Don't you trust me? No, this is weird. Sure I do, of course. Grudgingly, he stepped behind a plastic tarp and changed. Ugh, there were crusty, dark stains here and there on the robe. Gross hippies. Now what? Just lay down here on this table and close your eyes. I don't know. You said you trusted me, Ray pouted. Okay. He laid down. Kinda sticky, he said uncomfortably. Shh, you forgot to close your eyes. He closed them. Hands gripped his ankles and wrists. Ouch, that's kinda tight. Shh, is that a knife? Her fingers brushed over his eyelids, pushing them shut. Keep them closed. Damon thought back to Mr. Henry's government class. He had a new sympathy for the frog.